Hi everyone, welcome to TGIF, another Friday, another episode. We live in a world of data. The true value is when you can derive insights with utmost focus on privacy and confidentiality. Of course, if we look at analyst reports, we get to hear that by 2025, 60% of large organizations will use one or more of privacy enhancing computation techniques to derive insights from data. Today we'll focus on one of the cool technique under the umbrella of confidential computing, and I'm joined by Divya, who is a senior technical architect at MTC. Divya, welcome to TGIF.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome. So Divya, we spoke about Ignite announcements, pretty cool stuff when it comes to confidential VMs. Of course, we have three things, right? Azure Virtual Desktop went preview stage on confidential VMs. Second, of course, is SQL Server, and third, of course, is AK's Worker Nodes. So your quick reflection on that announcement.
Sandeep, this area is emerging, quite rapidly in the past few years that we see, right? And we also see the industry also trying to, catch up with the technology that is already available. So in this context, I think the latest three announcements that we had, it gives a boost to whatever we already have in the ecosystem, and I think today we'll see a glimpse of what we can do with confidential computing.
Perfect. I think we've also heard, Divya, in terms of the true values when it comes to multi-party data sharing situations, and I know you have a intense scenario, but again, if you look at the announcements, dominantly when it comes to building an ML model or looking at data in a very confidential fashion. So just talk about one of the use cases. I know you have a very cool use case considering financial service industry. So take us through that.
Yep. So although confidential computing can be applied in very varied industries, today we'll pick a quick use case in the BFSI space. Now let's consider a scenario where you need a multi-party data collaboration. Maybe you're augmenting your machine learning model with data from multiple parties, right? Now while these different organizations want to collaborate and share their data, they also need to adhere to their security and privacy standards, right? So in that sense, confidential computing gives a hardware-enabled trusted execution environment where these parties can safely share their data and work on all the AI ML capabilities or data mining and several such use cases. So these are use cases which are lighting up the industry while keeping into mind the privacy and security, right? So that's the key aspect of confidential computing. So if I were to take a simple scenario, let's say I want to run a KYC fraud detection algorithm or maybe an anti-money laundering algorithm across different banks, right? Now this is where confidential computing infrastructure helps us, and Azure platform has all the capabilities to take us through this entire use case.
Perfect, perfect. Awesome. So on that note, Divya, let's dive into a demo that you put together for us. So yeah.
Sure.
Awesome.
So we're going to talk about a use case where we are doing big data confidential analytics based on Apache Spark. I have a Spark process that is submitted to a Azure Kubernetes cluster, which is powered up by confidential VMs. Now confidential VMs give you that hardware enabled trusted execution environment called an enclave, where your program runs and the data or the program cannot be tampered with. That's the whole beauty, right? So we've heard about protecting our data while at rest, protecting our data while in transit, and now we are talking about protecting our data while in use.
Perfect.
So if you actually see my screen, I have a bunch of resources which are already provisioned on the Azure platform. To start off with, I have an Azure attestation provider. What this does is, it attests the execution environment, right, which is the enclave that I talked about. Now this gives extended security in terms of nobody is actually tampering with my environment, and I can quickly share the data, and even if somebody were to take a memory dump of my process, right, they will not be able to tamper with the data. I have a key vault to store all my credentials and certificates and other things that which are relevant for me to securely run this job. I have a database with an always encrypted version of the column. So I'll actually show you that the data is already encrypted, and within that encrypted space my program is actually able to go ahead and do the relevant transformation, right? And then I have created a node pool of an AKS cluster where I have 4 confidential VMs, and then you can actually see I have submitted a Spark job into this, and within the Spark job I have it's actually processing about 1.5 billion rows of data from a particular data set, right? Now, while my data, let me just run a quick query and show you that how the data is encrypted, but when I see in the program, it's actually able to decipher the data within that enclave and then run seamlessly, right? So, if I were to show you the way the enclave gets created, you can quickly see that I have a runtime environment, and within this runtime environment there is a enclave that gets provisioned, and an attestation happens within the backend for the trusted execution environment, and then the Spark job kicks in. So, that way your runtime, your binaries are all attested for the trustworthiness, and then the program proceeds.
Perfect, awesome. So, with that, what you just heard is the fact that yes, confidential VMs are generally available in AMD and Intel machines. So, check it out, and also use cases like what we showed today will be the classic example of how you can benefit from securing data while being used and ensure that confidentiality is protected at the most. With that, thank you so much, Divya, for joining us today.
Thank you, Sandeep. It's a pleasure being here.
Wonderful. So, with that, I think time to check out confidential VMs on Azure. Check it out and look at what use case you want to solve for your business. Thanks for watching us today. Have a wonderful Friday. Keep watching TGIF and have a great weekend ahead. Bye-bye.